The Lakers was like fiberglass, and they didn't know what to do with that. So you look at this game, and hopefully it's a learning point for the Lakers that you have to take each and every possession serious, because this is allegedly the worst team in basketball. You still have to go out here and play this game every quarter like it's your last. And they didn't do that. They did it one quarter, then they thought the game was over.
One of you, when we were watching the game and saw it slipping away, made a great point. When you turn that focus off and you've already relaxed, it is hard, especially at this level, which you two have played in, to get it back.
Yeah, as an athlete, you're trained to conjure up energy and, be focused in basketball for 48 minutes. And you have to finish the job, regardless of who you're playing. You cannot disrespect the worst team in the league. In fact, you make sure you put them away, and let them know that they don't have a chance. And I think the Lakers came out with that mentality, but I don't know what happened. They kind of just disrespected these young guys. And I heard Steve Kerr say the other day, they're capable of beating teams if you don't play your game. And I think this I don't know. I've seen a lot of Lakers losses. This might have been like the worst loss I've seen.
Because you're up 26, right?
It just sucked that they have this mentality that they can't finish games, and they think that teams are going to just lay down for them, and they got to change that. This was really ugly. I don't have a whole lot to say. I'd put them on Greyhound and let them drive back to L.A. and think about it, because you cannot perform like that. You can't be a Laker and play like they did tonight. There's a lot of details, a lot of stuff, stats and all that, but that's a mindset, and they don't have it yet. And if they don't change some, and I know it's early in the season, people say they're going to get it together, but this wasn't one of those games. They should have won this game, and it's just the disrespect that they showed for Oklahoma by not being professional and finishing the job it's not Laker style. It's they got to figure out. They got to figure out some stuff. The last shot by Monk, I don't know what that was. It was crazy.
Yeah, 2 air ball threes in that final stanza there. Carmelo as well. I don't know where to start. James, definitely some words there. I appreciate what you said. You look at the Laker defense. It's been a problem really from the start of the season. This team was averaging 94.5 points a game. They had 97 going into the fourth quarter. So there's defensive breakdowns all along. This team was losing games by 18.5 points. This team was 0-4. When you're up 26, and granted you're down LeBron James, you have to still put the final touches on it. You have to keep this team down, and they failed to do that, especially in those middle 2 quarters. They really let this team back in the game. James, I've been covering this team for 18 years. I don't remember a loss this tragically, so to speak. When you're up this much, if you're up this much against, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Utah, okay, a team like that can come back on you, because those are solid fundamental teams. This team's average player is 23 years old. That's way too much inexperience to have a comeback like this.
You can look at the comparisons between the first half and the second half, and I sat in this seat at halftime, and I said it was the best offensive performance of the year to date. And I believed that. It was 72 points. They had shot 62% from the field. They were 50% from 3, very efficient. Not a high volume, 7 of 14. The ball was moving, 20 assists. You look at the second half, ball was sticking. Rob called it immediately. Just 9 assists, 4 of 21 from 3, 38%, and just 43 points. But guys, for me, it still comes down to defensively. Not a lot of resistance, not a lot of closing out. To me, that's a lot of effort. Rob, you're all capable defenders. You're playing the youngest team in the league. You see it slipping away. If your offense is not clicking and you've gone cold, you can still do one thing, and that's defend. Correct?
Yeah, you can bear down and play good defense. And if you watch OKC's offense, it went simple. They simplified everything. They just did pick and roll, and they just drove, kick, and then the guy shot the ball, or he drove, kick, vice versa. It's so many things like that happen in the game. And then you watch the Lakers offense, it was go to AD. AD squares up, holds the ball for 2 or 3 seconds, then tries to make a move while the defense is eyeballing you, looking at you, and then they collapse. And then our shooters were getting the ball too late to like shoot a good shot. And that's what you have to look at the offense, because offense sometimes leads to good defense. I know back when James and I played, it was defense led to offense, but this era is opposite. It's offense leads to defense, because when the Lakers were scoring, they were up defending. They were doing everything because they was feeling good about themselves. But once they stopped scoring, they started pointing fingers like, help me on defense, and doing things of that nature. So you really have to bear down. I think in a situation like that, every time they ran the pick and roll, because if you look at OKC, they're all the same size players.
Yep.
They should have just switched everything, got up in those guys. So you know what? You're not getting to the paint. You're going to shoot some outside shots that are contested.
And you got to give OKC credit for adjusting. They did a nice job offensively. Giddey had a season-high 10 assists. They had a season-high in points. Rob said they went to a simple pick and roll. They knew they could exploit the Lakers. And also defensively, they really packed it in. They weren't going to let Russ get downhill. And they forced the Lakers to really not attack James, because when you look at free throws, 29 for OKC, and it was 10 for the Lakers until that final minute. So it ended at 14, but that just kind of tells you where their mindset was offensively from about that second quarter on.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma, I think they kind of figured out that the Lakers really weren't playing great defense. And to go along with that, they didn't really feel like they, were respecting them at all, just the way they were playing the game. I don't know, man. It was just pretty ugly. And I think the Lakers are going to have to really think about how they want to play. And, to lose to Oklahoma after being up 26, not getting to the line, not moving the ball, not playing defense. I just don't know what to say, Brez. I'm kind of ready to go home and just forget about it. It was ugly.
Yeah.
I don't have much
The
to say
game
about
only in
it.
the A block, too. You can't go home yet.
I just think, it was ugly. The whole from
Chair segment. Brez, what happened, or what did you see going down with the Russ situation kind of at the end of that game, final seconds? OKC gets the steal, the dunk.
Yeah, it wasn't a good throw by Rondo, or maybe he needed someone to come back and grab the ball. Miscommunication there, whatever it was. Baisley, a young kid. This team is very, very young. Grabbed the ball, still 5 seconds left. So he saw an open court and went for the dunk. And Russ did not like it, not at all. Russ, he's going to have some sentiments here. He played here all those years. He wanted to put on a good show. He did not do that tonight. His team did not win. So, period, you're not putting on a good show. And that's a tough way to end it for Russ and the Lakers. I'm sure he'll look back at that and say, it's a young team. Baisley, I don't know how old he is. I feel like he's been in the league 2 or 3 years, 22, 23 maybe. We're not talking about like a seasoned vet who made that move, but consider the source. It's a very youthful team.
Man, I would have tomahawked that dunk first win at home against the Lakers. I would have gone in there and tomahawked that thing just like he did. But yeah, you don't get frustrated for someone doing that after you blow a 26-point lead. You don't get frustrated at something that Oklahoma did. The guy just stole the ball. He didn't want to dribble it out. I don't blame him for that. But I think what I saw was frustration on Russ's part for losing the game, and him coming back to where, he played and blowing that lead. That's what I saw.
Yeah, it's frustrating when you make that come back to a place you spent so many years and did so many great things there. And, Russ, I can understand what Russ was doing, but still, Russ, don't be mad at him. Be mad at the coaching staff, be mad at your teammates, be mad at the managers, be mad at everybody that's going to be on that Laker plane except for Stu.
He was basically saying, no, young fella.
Yeah, but I know what he's saying, but still, you got to understand, though, I guarantee you Russ would have did it too. Because when you beat the Los Angeles Lakers, when you're a team that says you're not even supposed to win a game this year, and you come up, you down that many points, you come rolling back, you want to put an exclamation point on that game. And I'm not mad at young fella for doing it, because Russ, like I said, should only be mad at everybody on that plane because they had that game won, but because they took OKC lightly and didn't come out and play as hard as they could and thought it was going to be a cakewalk, they're going home with an L.
And that's what he's mad at. The young kid's just reacting. I'm sure.
Points, a season high, career high for the Rook. 10 assists. Let's hear from Frank Vogel. Speaking with Mike Trudell in the media.
Yeah.
I don't know what started to make their comeback at the end of the second quarter. Just wondered what you had seen at halftime and what you thought about the way they came out of the third quarter.
Yeah, it's a disappointing loss. I think we took our foot off the gas after that big first quarter lead, which happens in the NBA. Usually you can catch yourselves and sustain it, but we weren't able to do that. Both in that second quarter and in particular in the third quarter and second half. The ball stopped moving side to side. I got to do a better job making sure that our guys are moving it side to side, and our focus, intensity, and effort on the defensive end that slipped as well. So disappointing loss, but a lesson learned. NBA season is a long season, and a lesson for our group that you can't ever take your foot off the gas against anyone.
Frank, you had 3 shots in the last 30 seconds to potentially tie. Did you get the looks you wanted out of those?
Yeah, I got to look at the tape. I think we had 1 or 2 clean looks, but I got to look at the tape.
You mentioned the target on your back type of wrinkle that this team's going to have.
Yeah.
You're playing a winless Thunder team, but obviously it seemed like they felt that they could kind of jumpstart their season with an effort here. And
Sure.
how's that one of the lessons that your group has to learn as well?
Well, it's not fun in the moment when you lose a game like that, but I think at the end of the day, if we're pushed every night like this, it's going to sharpen us. It'll be good for us in the long run, but you got to play through that and find a way to win.
Frank, what happened with Russ there in the end? I know because he was upset at the dunk by the other guys.
Yeah, I don't know. There was a verbal exchange, and they gave him a technical.
Did the referees explain it to you at all?
That's what they said. Yeah.
Russ had 10 turnovers tonight, and you had said the other day that sometimes those turnovers are due to spacing or kind of teammates being in the wrong spot. I guess how much of that was that versus him making predetermined reads, as you had said earlier in the season as well?
Yeah, I got to look at the tape.
Coach, what do you think of Russell Westbrook's play tonight? Just coming back home to Oklahoma City and chances to get back against the Thunder.
Guy competes his tail off. It was a tough finish for our whole group, but to come in and have 10 assists in a half in an NBA game, it's remarkable. And I applaud his effort, but our group as a whole, we didn't get the job done. So, I'll look for the next game.
Thanks, Coach.
So, Rob, over the past week since the season started, we show the calendar of all the games, and Brez was letting you know that after the Phoenix game that there are a lot of easy games coming up. Winnable games. This is a nice stretch for the Lakers. You did not like hearing that from Brez. When they were up 26 in the conference room, Brez maybe gave you a little smirk or just maybe chatted with you. And now what? Would you like to say something?
I told Brez, you remember, if y'all got the film, you would show me doing this. Because you cannot say that. Because every game is winnable for both teams. So you say it's winnable for the Lakers. You're right. Every game is winnable, but it's also winnable for the opposing team. And that's why I always say when you disrespect teams, especially young teams who don't have a clue if they should win or lose, they just go out there and play freely, good things can happen. So you cannot ever say, well, you can say it, but don't disrespect teams.
Is it true someone clipped that off and sent it to Dort, and then he showed it to Josh Giddey and all the rest of the players? Right. Bulletin board winnable games.
Think about it. Dort had 30 points in a playoff game. A career high.
Yeah.
Shut down James Harden.
He did. The Lakers have been good for a few years, but there was a time in our network where they weren't winning a lot of games, and people looked to what you were going to say to lead off the show. Tonight you had a Greyhound line that really has Twitter going, so I just wanted to say to you that.
Sometimes you got to put them on the bus, man.
Sometimes you got to.
They got a lot of time to think about it. Yeah. I mean, look. I remember when we played, I'm sure in Rob's era in the good years, you looked at that calendar, okay, maybe every week or bi-weekly, you looked at it. And like Brad said, you saw the games that you should win. You don't disrespect them, Rob, but you saw the games on that calendar that you're supposed to win. And even good teams at home, if it were, say, Boston or, Detroit, at home, you count on those home games. And you took care of business.
Yeah.
And, we did. We made sure we had ice on our knees in the fourth quarter. And we dared a team like Oklahoma to try to stay in it with us. We go put on a 8-minute, and get it done. I don't know, man. What's happening now is you're getting a reputation, okay? They better be careful because the teams that they should beat now are going to be amped and ready to play. You got to take care of these teams like Oklahoma. This should never have happened.
I remember watching a
Never
game back in
happened.
the day. I think you were up 42-4 or something on Sacramento Kings.
Sacramento.
You remember that?
And dare them to
And
try
you
to
never
come
played
back.
again. Yeah.
What? You gonna try to come back?
By the way,
Did
Rob,
against
25
Dallas
years.
one time too.
25 years, the Lakers are 230-0 when leading by 25 points or more.
There you go.
Until tonight. Wow.
Man, I don't even know what to say. It's just
Promo?
you beat the teams you're supposed to beat. That's the line you should have used, Braz. You beat the teams you're supposed to beat.
Hey, I'm going to talk up Cleveland on Friday. Like LeBron still on the team.
Full Honda assist of the game, courtesy of Rajon Rondo. Early finding AD with the oop.
With the alley and the oop.
With the alley and the oop.
Alley, you see that oop?
However you would like to break it down. 11 points for Kent Bazemore in the loss. He's standing by with Mike.
All right, Kent Bazemore joining us in the postgame show. Kent, a tough one tonight. You guys built a big lead in the first half. You've seen teams come back in the NBA. It does happen, but how were you not able to kind of turn it back on and turn things back in your direction?
Definitely a bittersweet night. The sweet part being us showing what we're really capable of. Defensively, we really set the tone early on in the first half. But you got to give them credit. Young team, a lot of hungry guys, and they just kept fighting. That's the beauty of NBA basketball games. Never roll over till it's over. So early in the season, learning a lesson for us, and we continue moving forward.
What were some of those things that you guys established defensively early that you felt like weren't there as much later?
I just think we're vocal. Defensively, just 5 guys on the string. We probably hit the head on the nail. 6 out of 10 possessions early on. Defense creating offense, getting shots. Really good vibes early on, and it's tough to sustain. You get on a high like that, and once you come down, it's human nature. It's tough to kind of get it back.
You've seen a couple times this year, and you'll continue to see teams are packing the paint on the offensive end. You were able to open that up, it seemed like, in the first half and not as much in the second. What did you see on that side of the court?
They just stuck with their game plan. Anthony Davis is a great talent. I'm glad he's on my team. The attention he demands offensively, and Russ being Russ, and we're without a head honcho tonight. The guy that probably would have kept us even keel out there in bronze. So it's a lot to learn. A lot of guys getting minutes, and we're getting better. The schemes are coming together. A lot of good things from each night, and that's all you can pretty much work on is continue to move forward, get back home, and enjoy your family, see your family again, get ready to go again.
Last thing for you, Kent, the corner three has been really a productive spot for you this season. Just wonder where you're seeing you're getting those shots and how comfortable you are feeling with it. We got so many guys that draw attention, and I'm always over there posted. It's called the parking lot pimping last year, so I'm wrong with that again. It's just letting it fly, getting your legs under you a little bit, and knowing where your shots are coming from, and shot preparation, all those good things. So we got a lot of guys that can fill it up, and I'm sure over time, once we get to full strength, it's going to be even more. That's parking lot pimping, you said, for the
pimping, baby.
Okay, all right, now I know that. Appreciate it, Kent.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Mike. Parking lot pimping. What are you breaking down, Rob? Rob, what is that right there?
That's that cold as ice, man.
I mean, what is that,
Because
Rob?
from the 4-minute mark, the Lakers were cold as ice.
It's cold in here, Rob.
Yeah, this 360 going to show you why they was cold as ice. It's just one of those things that you got to learn from this game.
You're not even getting up, are you?
No, I ain't getting up for this, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tap out like they tapped out tonight.
I appreciate that.
So, show me my 360. 360 right here. Right here, you got Russ coming down. Here's the part. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, technically 5 defenders come barreling down on Russ. Russ gets up in the air, has no one to throw it to. Then he throws a pop pass, and Dort, one of the fastest guys in the NBA, takes it, double dribbles, travels, and all that stuff, but he still gets the bucket right there. I'm trying to help the Lakers out, make them look better. Right here on this rebound, Russ gets the rebound again. We're off to the races. Right here, I don't know, but did Russ try to throw this between his legs? Because when he did, the ball just died, picked it up, interception. Off to the races again. Look, now let's go to the corner. Right here, Carmelo, you too late, splash in your eyeball. Right there. You can't have bad turn. Look, Russell double team, good double team, but look, Carmelo's in no man's land. He's pointing to the guys to help me out in the corner. That's good talk right there. But the problem is, I'm going in and out you, Carmelo. We know you're a little old now. You can't move your feet like you used to. You go to hole, dunk. So now you can't have possessions like this, because when you have possessions like this, it's going to make you cold as ice. And when you cold as ice, you know what happens?
Hear it, the wind going too.
You get an L. You know what L stands for?
Lose.
Loser.
Yeah. If this team wants to pride themselves as a defensive team, then he's got to find a defensive team that he can count on down the stretch. I mean, Oklahoma being the youngest team in the league.
That backdrop look good on you,
I like that. Kind of cold as ice.
Because you was a cold player, boy.
It's kind of cool.
But
we got to have a little fun after a night like
this
tonight.
is what we do
on a night like
This is what we do after the worst loss in Laker history. But anyway, you got to find a way to put your best defensive team on the floor. Carmelo was brought here as a three-point shooter. Not saying that he's not experienced enough. I think I like Reeves. Down the stretch, you got when you're trying to win a game, you got to do it with defense. And their offense just went stale. It stopped moving, and as soon as you get into the ISO game, you work right into the defensive hands. We saw what they were able to do in the first half. That ball was popping and moving, and then they went stale. And then when you try to all of a sudden flip the switch back on, the power's out. The power's out, and the guy's not coming to turn it on till the next game. So they've got themselves in a bad spot and got really ripped up by a young, talented, team that has no veterans or no experience, but they're talented players. They are in the NBA. And I go back to Steve Kerr said, they had a big lead on
Rockets. November 4th, the scary Thunder come to town. And then November 6th, back out on the road against the Trailblazers. All games can be seen right here on Spectrum Sportsnet. The Lakers bench outscored OKC's 39-26. Carmelo Anthony scored 13 points of them. He's talking with Mike in the media.
Melo, I'm sure you've seen a lot of comebacks once a team goes up 20 in the NBA, but what's the key to shutting it off, and why weren't you guys able to do that tonight?
I can't pinpoint it at this moment. The momentum switched quick, and it was a downhill spiral for us. They started getting confidence. They started making shots, and they kept playing the same way the whole game. We had dead spots throughout the course of the game, and they just played the same way. They played hard. They played free. They attacked the basket. They started making shots. And they came back and won, so you got to tip your hat to those guys.
What do you mean by dead spots exactly?
I mean, we had a moment where we wasn't scoring the basketball. We had a moment we was turning the ball over. They was taking advantage. They were taking advantage of that transition threes, and they just got momentum. They got momentum. They got confidence. And once you give a team like that confidence and give them momentum, it's hard to slow that down.
Obviously, it didn't really come down to this one play, but you guys got 3 shots to try to tie it. Last 30 seconds, and Williams slips. The ball almost came right to you.
Yeah, it came right to me, man. I didn't have full control of it though. I tried to shoot it without having full control of it. My footing wasn't right. I just saw daylight once I seen it. I just saw daylight, but I didn't have full control of the basketball. So I tried to make a shot. I tried to shoot it without having full control of it.
Mother, in your experience of being in the league these many years, a loss like this, how do you take it, process this as a team?
I mean, this is a tough one to lose, even though we was up 20 on the road. It's a tough one to lose, but we better leave that one here. Get ready for Friday.
You know what the Russell Westbrook experience is in OKC, having been a teammate of his here. How do you think the night went for him?
You gotta ask him that. I can't answer for him. I can't answer for us. I don't know how he may feel about how he played, about coming back here. And I won't answer that. You can ask him that.
Melo, you sort of said it was a spiral, but before it came to those last 3 shots for you guys, was there an earlier point in the game where you kind of felt like you had maybe a chance to stem it? Maybe when Avery hit those back-to-back threes, or was there another moment in the game where you
I mean, it was just moments throughout, especially in the second half. It was moments where, no matter what we did, we tried to sustain their runs, and they just kept going. They kept going. They didn't stop playing. They played hard. They made shots. And again, they just played with such a confidence in that second half.
Thanks, Mel.
And you.
That was Carmelo Anthony, OKC.